Hey friends, New York City personal injury attorney Kyle Newman here to break down a list of 11 of the most ridiculous and most common myths about personal injury lawsuits. Let's go. So first up, personal injury lawsuits, what are they? They are a type of civil lawsuit where a person files suit against one or more people or entities for damages that they suffered as a result of some type of accident. These are called tort cases, where the plaintiff, who is the injured party that we represent, has the burden of proof, meaning they have to prove in court that the defendant, the one that we sued, was negligent, meaning that they failed to exercise reasonable care or acted unsafely given the circumstances, and as a result of that, a person was harmed. The most common types of personal injury cases involve things like motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, injuries on the job, dog bites, and construction accidents, but they can pretty much involve any type of accident where someone or something acted in a negligent or unsafe way, causing injury to another person. And since the vast majority of people out there have never experienced a personal injury case themselves, thankfully, aside from what they watch on TV and the movies or on social media, it's understandable why there's so many myths out there about personal injury lawsuits. So myth number one is the notion that the majority of personal injury lawsuits are frivolous. Now, this is just a talking point for insurance companies and the biggest lie that is spread by them, which is really done for one reason: to delegitimize lawsuits for people like you and to save these evil insurance companies as much money as possible. So there are bad actors in every profession, right? There's bad doctors, bad accountants, bad bankers, bad police officers, but as licensed attorneys and professionals, the last thing a real personal injury law firm or lawyer wants to get involved with is a frivolous lawsuit. I mean, in 15 years of practice, I have never seen one. So it's not just because we value truth and ethics and justice, it's because pursuing a frivolous lawsuit is illegal. It's insurance fraud. So it's just something that we don't do, and it's a total myth. So the second myth is another huge misconception that is created by insurance companies that we sue. And that's this notion that there are too many lawsuits that are clogging up our justice system, which is just completely untrue. The reality is that the majority of cases that we see as personal injury attorneys settle before the case is ever put into suit or ever sees a courtroom, and that 90% of the cases that do get litigated settle way before the case ever goes to trial. Myth number three is this idea that normal people without any law degree or legal background could handle their own lawsuit pro se or on their own without a lawyer. Okay, so if you have a serious medical condition, you go to see a doctor or a hospital. If you have issues with your taxes that are complex, you speak with an accountant. If you have a serious accident, you need a serious attorney. Look, you can represent yourself, but you're going to be doing yourself a huge disservice if you do so and hurting your own chances of getting fair compensation. There are just too many things you won't know what to do. Time requirements, court filings, so many little things that happen in court that you are going to kill your chances of having success for your lawsuit if you handle your case on your own without a lawyer. Myth number four is this belief that people can't afford personal injury attorneys, that we're expensive. And I don't know where this comes from, but it's complete nonsense. It's actually the opposite. Personal injury lawyers are the cheapest lawyers. You hire us and don't pay a dime to us unless we win your case. It's something called a contingency fee, as opposed to an hourly fee, which most criminal attorneys as well as transactional attorneys get paid. But for personal injury attorneys, it is the opposite of expensive. We lay out all of the cost of the case, and if we, God forbid, lose your case, you don't owe us a dime. Myth number five, you can't sue your own insurance company. Again, that's just plain false, okay? In many cases, we actually have to sue our client's own insurance company. In fact, your own insurance company is the one most likely that's going to deny you some sort of compensation. And this happens a lot in car accidents because your insurance company in New York, not the other driver's a responsible party, your insurance company, because of no-fault law, is going to pay your lost earnings and your out-of-pocket medical expenses. And in addition, if you were hit by another car that had less insurance than you, or God forbid, had no insurance, we actually have to sue your own insurance policy in order to get fair compensation. Myth number 6 is that any type of lawyer can handle your personal injury case. And this is really not true, okay? Personal injury law is a specialty. You wouldn't want a tax attorney or a divorce lawyer handling an injury claim because they're nothing alike. They have nothing to do with one another. And if you're thinking about hiring a personal injury attorney, get an experienced one that actually practices it. Not an attorney that does everything, an attorney that specializes. Myth number 7 is that personal injury lawsuits are there for punishment. That is not true. The party named as a defendant in a lawsuit, the person who is technically being sued, is rarely, if ever, the one paying damages to that injured person. That's the whole reason we have insurance. It's their insurance company is the one that's going to pay out to that injured party and not the defendant or the person that you sue. Myth number 8 is that every personal injury lawsuit takes years and years to finish, and that's also just false. Every case is going to be different. Some cases can take years, but in the, I'd say, majority of cases that we see, they settle fairly quickly, and that's always going to be our goal. But if we can't get what our client deserves, we have to be prepared to go to the distance, and that would be to a trial. All right, so myth number 9 is that personal injury victims have to be in court all the time. That's also not true, especially nowadays with Zoom and other video conferencing apps that the courts use. Look, before, a client might have to appear for a deposition in court, but they're usually at a court reporter's office or a lawyer's office. And the only other real appearance that you would have would maybe be a settlement conference with the judge, but that only happens maybe once or twice during the entire, duration of your case. So you're not going to be in court frequently. That's what you hire the lawyers to do. We're the ones in court. Myth number 10, no. Your insurance company is not going to cover all of your costs. In fact, studies have shown of the approximate 3 million plus car accidents that happen a year, insurance companies pay out less than 50% of the damages. And what ends up happening is you, the victim, end up paying up to 25% of costs out of your own pocket. So no, insurance companies never pay everything. The last myth on this list, number 11, is you are greedy if you file a personal injury lawsuit. And frankly, I hate this. This is one of the most common myths, things that I hear in court during jury selection by my adversaries, and it surrounds personal injury lawsuits because we are able to get people large sums of money for their pain and suffering, medical bills, lost earnings. But in the case of a personal injury victim, you're dealing with someone with a catastrophic injury, potentially. Someone who is disabled from work, will not be able to earn an income for the rest of their life, might need around-the-clock home health care. These have massive expenses associated with them. So no, these people are not greedy. They are entitled under our civil justice system to sue for money damages that fairly and justly compensate them. All right, folks, that wraps it up. I hope this shines some light on the facts and truth of personal injury and what lawyers like me do. If you have any questions about any of this, leave them in the comments. And as always, you can hit us up at our office. I'll leave the number and our website below. Stay safe out there. I'll talk to you soon.